I
Thank you
see
for
the
coming.
button. I
Thank you
see
for.
the
I
button.
know. Thank you for coming by the podcast. And the reason we're both laughing at the start of this is because I have a knack for forgetting to hit the record button when we start recording, when we start these podcast episodes. So basically what happens from time to time is me and Reggie will do what we consider to be a test run, because that sounds better than just stupid ass Michael just forgot to hit the record button. And then, like 45 minutes later, when I go to turn the recording off, I'll realize that I hadn't started the recording from the jump. So that has nothing to do with you all. But thank you all for coming back to the Dating While Adulting podcast. And what you're about to hear is part two of a great conversation that we had, and hopefully we can regenerate the magic. Or I might just edit all of this out and we'll just start with the podcast. Either way, um, thanks for coming by. And because you had to endure me listening to that, I won't give you the spill. Couple things to note. If you are watching on YouTube, I am wearing my Peruvian hat. So, because I know one person in particular is going to be like, "What's that hat you wearing?" But this is my Peruvian hat that I actually got from Peru, that the Peruvian natives wear. So, um, for all you people that will say that that's cultural appropriation, fuck y'all. So
Fuck y'all.
anyway, yeah. Thank you, Reggie. Thank you, Reggie. A couple of things to note that we talked about before, but I want to mention again. Shout out to Salma Hayek, and happy birthday to Salma Hayek. Um, I follow her on Instagram, and she was posting some birthday pictures that made me very happy, that to see that women in their 50s are still getting it done.
Did
And
you see the
boy,
bikini shot?
yeah, I saw the bikini
Mm.
shot. And the thing about it, man, is, and I'm sorry to anybody that this might offend, but again, yeah, fuck y'all.
Fuck
Um,
y'all.
I'm just joking. But her dude is like 800 years old. Now, mind you, I think he's like a billionaire or something like
Oh yeah,
that.
he's loaded. Oh yeah.
But man, I hope they make a pill strong enough to make him be able to work with that, because it'll be a shame if that woman looked that good at that age and she's not getting treated the way that she should be treated, if you know what I mean.
Get the D. Get the D.
Yes, goodness. I tell you what, man. The Salma Hayeks and the Jennifer Lopez's in this world, they making it happen. But yeah, okay, that's enough of my misogyny. um, and what we're gonna do right now is get right into our topic, which is amazing. Like I said before, which you all didn't hear. Um, we are actually getting into a topic like 3 minutes in or 2 minutes in or whatever. That is like a record for us.
Mm.
And since I'm actually recording this time, we'll see if we can carry it out. But I'm going to start by asking Reggie a simple enough question. Reggie, do you like women?
I'm indifferent.
Okay. Um, Indifferent meaning that you can like them one day and not like them the next. Indifferent
Well,
meaning
we
that you
went.
have no feelings toward them whatsoever, which we know is not true.
There's a slight resentment to them right now, but I try to still, as you know, do all that Jesse Jackson, keep or Barack Obama, have hope, keep hope, even though we both know from a nice summery day in Australia, I don't necessarily believe in that. So you know how far that's going. So to really answer the question to stop hedging, no, I don't like them.
Reggie's referring to a trip that we took in Australia in 2015, where we had long conversations about dating and marriage and sex and stuff. It was very enlightening for a lot of different reasons. Racist ass country, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I had a racist experience there, which I won't get into. I'll write that. Oh, a couple of things I wanted to mention. I'm glad you brought that up, which has nothing to do what I'm going to talk about, but for some reason it reminded me of that. What I've started doing is on the podcast. I mean, on the blog, datingwhileadulting.com, is I've started writing these companion pieces, like after the show, these postscripts to the podcast, which basically like talk about some outside information, things that we don't mention on the podcast, just things about how the topics were generated, just explaining things to us. I started it with the Ask a Woman episode 1, I started writing about that and continued it with all of the episodes since. So that's just me writing. An example of something that I talked about um, in the What Makes Good Sex podcast, for example. um, Me and Reggie, it's like we were on two different planets. Talk about women and Mars and Venus and all that stuff. And one of the things I wrote about to give you all some context is just explaining a little bit about how we think. And the example that I use, and Reggie can't disagree with this, is if you're a student in school and you're taught the alphabet, and the teacher makes you stand up in front of the class and says, recite the alphabet from A to Z. My way of thinking is to go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, whatever, 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 until you get to
Element of
Z.
P. You
Right,
want to
right,
say
right.
element of P.
Well, regardless. And actually, I wouldn't, because that's not the dude that I am. And you know that. I am the one that will go through each individual letter, which brings me to
Yes.
my point about you. A teacher asks you to stand up and say, um, get from A to Z. Your first thought will be, there's got to be an easier way to get to Z without me having to mention these other 24 letters. And so when you go back, if you go back and listen to the podcast about what makes good sex and what we're talking about, just keep that in mind. That's kind of our different way of thinking, which works well to me. And also, I talked about another example. I talked about in the Ask a Woman episode, one of the things that I mentioned that we didn't mention on the podcast was that made things interesting is that Reggie had never met Nicole. So they first met like 5 minutes before we started recording. And so I thought that that was interesting to mention. And while
Chemistry.
it doesn't affect, yeah, it doesn't
Chemistry,
affect
baby.
Reggie.
Chemistry.
It doesn't affect Reggie because, like I said, of course, my eyes always roll when we talk about that chemistry BS. But um, it was like I wrote in the piece, Reggie, it doesn't really matter to him because Reggie can make a rock feel comfortable. But Nicole was a little nervous at the beginning. She eventually warmed up, as you all heard. But yeah, I just thought that was funny. So those are the types of things that I write about, just things that like beyond the show, beyond the episode. So if you've been noticing those, that's kind of the origin of it. Now going back to our topic, I said we were going to start 3 minutes in, and then I start rambling.
Yeah.
Um,
It wasn't me
Actually,
this time.
first,
It wasn't me this time.
and it wasn't rambling. This was giving people good information about the show.
And I
So
do tweet, and actually we are Twitter, and I do tweet more than I write now.
I
So.
I have noticed that you have been tweeting, and I am shocked and pleasantly surprised. Now, with that said, gold star for you. Anyway, so going back to the thing, you talk about being indifferent, and okay, to me, that means that basically that's your way of saying, for the most part, no, you don't like women. And it's not that I'm saying it to bash you or anything like that. The reason that this topic came up because in my dating experiences, reading profiles from women, talking to women, they all seem to, and I don't mean all as in every single woman, but most women that I talk to, they have this negative kind of vibe that they bring into our first few conversations. And it stems from bad relationships or issues that they've had with men. So when I talk to friends of mine who are honest about it, and I ask them, and these are females and men, some they'll when I ask them the question, do you like women or do you like men? They'll give these like generic answers like, of course I love my men and I'm down for my brothers and all of that. And I'm holding them down. And the men will say, well, yeah, the sisters, yeah, we gotta have the sisters back and we gotta lift each other up and all of that stuff. And that's fine. But what I equate it to is the movie in the movie Do the Right Thing, and Reggie hadn't seen that movie because Reggie hadn't seen a movie since Uptown Saturday Night. But in the movie Do the Right Thing, Spike Lee is talking to one of the racist brothers in the movie. And Spike Lee is asking him, like, why are you a racist, but you like Michael Jordan and you like Magic Johnson and you like these black people? And dude responded by saying, well, yeah, I don't really see them as black. They're like more than black. They're like different black. And that bringing that back to like women in relationships women and men, I kind of see it in the same way. It's like, yeah, I might like my mother or my sister, or I like my friends, but they're like different from other women. And when you speak about, well, yeah, I love men in general, but it's in that general ideal sense. I love the idea of what I think a man should be, and vice versa for men. I like the idea of what women should be, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are that. And
So it's the oh wow, this is a totally different concept now. So it's the expectation and the letdown of the expectations of what we the idea versus the actual real life product is why it's almost it's a we're being diluted. We're diluting ourselves, trying to put the square peg in the round hole, thinking that we're this, but in actuality, there's no way in hell we can be that.
well, yeah, it's just like in a person's mind of what a man or what a woman is isn't always what we wind up with. And to these women who come with these negative vibes and stuff like that, vibes for lack of a better word, it's because their experiences don't match what they would like in a man. So my next question for you, Reggie, is
Well,
what's
mm,
up?
but see, that's the thing, and we're gonna keep having this discussion. The fact that no one's holding these women, no one's holding a gun to these women's heads and choosing these guys. They can get a lot. They can get what they want a lot easier than we can because the pool, for instance, a nice looking woman can get 100 suitors versus a nice looking man may be able to get 25.
Mhm.
So them not getting what they want needs to be addressed in the fact that first of all, do they really know what they want? And second of all, is it realistic?
Well, speaking from a woman's perspective, a
Oh,
woman,
really now?
well,
Something
yeah,
you to tell me?
yeah, right. I have picked up the mantle. Ask a woman, ask me. But just from women that I talk to, what they'll say is, yeah, and I agree with you to a certain extent. I think that there is a lot to be discussed when it comes to women and the choices they make and the reasons that they make those choices. But I've had women that counter and say, and I believe correctly so, that there are men out there that lie. And they'll lie about what they have. They'll lie about who they are. They'll lie about well, who they have and what they are. That's pretty much it. And
Well, they can
is a
counter if they
woman
want
is a
to
woman
because they do the same damn thing. So what are
well,
we talking about?
I think it's a little bit different.
How
And
so?
I'll speak for myself in this regard. I think
Okay.
when women talk about, I say I'll speak for myself and then I start speaking for women.
Exactly.
Let me speak for myself first. The reason that, and not meaning to put you on the spot, because when I did a deep
I
dive
put
on
me on
my
the spot.
well, when I did some introspection on myself, I had to come to the conclusion that I don't necessarily like women either. I love them in that holistic sense, and I would never do anything intentionally to hurt them, and that's what that love is. But when you get loving someone and liking someone, those are
Totally
totally
two,
different things.
two totally different processes.
And I love a lot of people, especially some of my family that I don't necessarily like.
Got
But
that right.
yeah, yeah. So that's the difference. So I love them, but if you're honest with yourself and you base it on my experiences, yeah, I can't say that I like them. And the reason, speaking for myself now, is because um, of the irrational behavior, the illogical thought processes, the emotions, and stuff like that. Things that I've heard women express that they dislike as well, but it seems different when they're doing it.
Actually,
But
my wife. I just talked to my wife between the breaks, and asked her the question, not to cut your wisdom, but just because you made that point. I said, "Do you like women? Do you do you like men and women? Blah blah blah." The question that you posed, and she said, "Well, I like men more like women." I said, "Why?" She said, "Because women lie, and they do that irrationally, and this coming from a woman." And I was like, "Oh, okay, really now."
yeah, I found to that point, and this is starting to sound bashy, but it's the truth. I found and spoken to more women, not a lot of women, let's just say, that will say, I like being around dudes more so than I like being around women because of those same things that I expressed. And the thing about it is, sex kind of is the tie that kind of keeps guys tied to women.
Hmm.
If
Hmm.
there wasn't sex involved, I don't really know that we would really interact that much because we are so different and not different in good, positive ways. It's kind of like when I just described you and me, for example, and we talked about the A to Z example and how I get to Z versus how you get to Z. Those are like big differences, but they're positive differences. We complement each other in that regard. The differences between men and women in general aren't really complementary. Um, when you talk about like just the way that we think versus the way that they think, and how we process information versus how they process information. So it's like,
Actually, actually, this is the thing, because
oh, go ahead.
you are more of a process person, detailed process. I'm not. I am a very abstract, strategic person. But at the end, this is why, even though we have differences in the process, and we always get the same result
Well, even if
for the
we
most part.
even if we don't get the same result, it's like, okay, if we come to different conclusions on something, the one thing that I know is that whoever is whoever makes the wrong conclusion, they're responsible for dealing with that. And I can trust that you'll deal with that. You can trust that I'll deal with that. Um, so it's not even necessarily, at least in my opinion, I feel like we need to get to the same place, but we need to have an understanding of how we got to the place, which I
True.
understand about you. When I am in dating situations and the women that I've dated, they think things. My question is, how did you get
How
that?
did you
Oh,
get that?
yes.
How the
Yeah,
hell
yeah,
did
yeah.
you get that?
Right, right. So it's like we're like totally off. So when we're talking about women and your wife liking to be around men more, it comes down to women don't have a sexual component to tie them together. So there's nothing that keeps them together. And it makes sense to me that why women would like to be around guys. The thing that's funny about it, not talking about your wife, but in general, women that I know that talk about liking to be around guys, they're the same irrational. They just don't like dealing with it in the same ways that we don't like dealing with it, but they see themselves as different when really they're not.
That they're not. Yep,
Yeah.
you're right.
So that's my thing. Um,
Yep, you're
and to push back to speak for women now, women will
right.
say that if those that do admit that they don't like men because when I bring up, do you like guys? They'll get all defensive and stuff like that. But they'll get all defensive and stuff like that. But it's like when you press them, yeah, it's pretty obvious in their behaviors and their actions that they don't like dudes either. And I don't think there's any shame in admitting to it. It's like, hey, it is what it is. But the ones that are honest about it, they'll say that their issue is like, I can talk about frustrations that I have with women. Those are kind of like intangible things. Their issues are more tangible, which would be a guy cheats, a guy beat up on you, a guy will lie. Now, Reggie, you say they both lie the same way. I don't know that I agree with that, but their
No,
things,
they don't lie
their
the
things are
same
more
way. They
tangible.
lie the same race. They lie the same race. As a matter of fact, I think women lie more because they have more incentive to lie than we do.
What's their incentive to lie?
Security and protection versus us, we just want sex.
Okay, so um do you think that not the amount of times that a man and a woman lies, but the um the quality of the lie, the gravity of the lie. Do you think that women's lies are as big as men's lies?
I think on certain, I mean, on this one, I'm gonna do a individual basis. No, I can't do an individual basis. No, I will have to sit there and say the ramifications of women's women lying do hold more weight because outside of the physical abuse part, I'm gonna take that off the table. Men would lie about cheating. And I'm not by no stretch am I diminishing what a cheating is. But women can lie about why she married a guy, which is long-term effects. Women can lie about if the kid is theirs, is the man, is the if the man is the father of their kid, which also means that she lied about the cheating, which are long-term effects. But women can lie, yeah, we're talking men can lie about their credit, they can lie about their finances, stuff like that. Those are not long-term effects. And I'm not diminishing, but uh, I can't find outside of a man having a double life where he has a wife and kids in another state, that would be the same gravity as, a woman marrying a man that she really doesn't want to be with, doesn't love, but because of financial security or whatever, and she can quote unquote provide for her, but the relationship is cold, or she's cheating, and also she may have had a baby with somebody that's not theirs, and you know that's going on since millennium. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree. Well, I don't disagree at all with the different ways that women can lie. I think if we like break it down like that and say who can tell the biggest lies or
Well,
the bigger lie.
you said the gravity of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think women can tell bigger lies than men can tell. But I guess what I'm thinking of in more normal scenarios, who's more apt to lie more? And from a woman's perspective, I would say that a woman will say a guy will lie
Of
about
course.
about where he works, how much money he makes. He'll go out and rent a car and say that it's his. Now, a woman, conversely, she might buy a dress and the tag will still be on it, and she'll take
Weaves
it back
and
afterward.
makeup, and yeah, weaves and makeup. I mean, that's all part of the mating. I understand that. That's all part of the mating process. But there's no way in hell that she's gonna get latched onto that guy that for that long without realizing this guy's living in a box under the Wilson Bridge. Anyone doesn't live in DC, so that's the Wilson Bridge, going into Maryland. So yeah, it's going to come out. It's going to come out in the end.
Well,
It's going to come out in the wash.
Well, yeah, and I don't, and just to go back a little bit, I don't think weaves and makeup are lies. I
That's
just
a damn lies. I want to see you in
what,
your natural form. When I wake
what?
up in the morning, I mean, even though there used to be back in the day, women used to actually, there were some women who went to bed in full makeup and wake up before their husband to make sure. So she always presented that image. If if that illusion is kept, good for you. You're still lying, but you know you're lying and you take responsibility for it.
I used,
Versus, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say I used to work with a woman who did just that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I applaud you for it. Bravo, bravo. But don't sit there and make me think I bought a Corvette and have a Ford Mustang engine in it.
Well, to me, that's kind of like saying if a guy like gets his hair cut the day before his date, is he lying because he got his hair cut the day before? I mean, obviously
Well,
he's not
no,
gonna get his hair cut every day, so it's like,
but
is
no, no,
that
but
a
at the same,
lie?
but no, but it's no, it's not a lie. But at the same time, it's like men and women want different things out of a relationship. We sit there and said men want that visual aspect of from women. That's why they do all those things. They put on makeup, they put on weave, high heels. So it's not like I don't understand that. Because men, why do men sit there and think they're big ballers? They had $100 bill wrapped up in a whole bunch of ones. I mean, they have the ones wrapped up in $100 bill, thinking that they get a big wad, and oh, he got money. Yeah, we know. We like I said, we all do whatever we need to do to try to attract the other side. That's just part of the game, unfortunately. But to a certain extent, see, you laugh because you did that shit.
I used to do that in high school. It's like when I got my Long John Silver check, I would go to the bank. Me and Dooney, a friend of ours, we would go to the bank and get all of our money, cash our check, get 100, and get the rest in one. So that was just funny to me. I'm sorry.
But yeah, but like and on that aspect, on the left, on the mating aspect of trying to attract each other and stuff like that, sooner or later, on both sides, it's gonna come out in the wash. And to me, that's not the wash. But going to my earlier statement, getting with someone, getting with, I mean, and not that men don't do it either, but in my opinion, I think men do it a lot less than women do because men, not for the most part, they're gonna get with a woman because she got a nice job. Not saying all, because
Yeah,
there are some gigolos out there who does that. You know, they want a sugar mama,
yeah.
but
But more women to do that though.
yeah,
I
more
agree.
women to do that.
I agree with that.
And so that's the consequence. And it's like, well, or they have to, well, I'm turning 30, so I gotta find a man to get married to, or I gotta have a man to get married and have a baby because my biological clock is ticking. Versus I need to find the right man. I don't care how long it takes. I don't care if I'm 30, 35. I want a man that I want to be with for the rest of my life. This is the criteria. I want a man to be a great father to my kids. These are the criteria. So you look at more so the character of the person. And for me, going, answering the question, my ambivalence towards women right now stems from character issues. And character issues is the fact that, in my opinion, women aren't accountable. They aren't accountable. And granted, society has allowed that to happen. So I have to understand what the game is. And if you can take advantage of the situation, you take, some people say take advantage of the situation. My favorite sport is in baseball, as Michael like to say. And they have a motto. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. So I understand that. But at some point, you have to be accountable and responsible for your own life. And also, there's a certain sense of entitlement that women have that men would never have when
Well,
it comes to the dating pool stuff.
well, a couple things about that. One is you talked about how if a guy lies and he winds up living under this bridge, it'll come out in the wash. But even if a woman does find out eventually and it does come out in the wash, it still doesn't negate the lie that was told before she found out. So whether she finds that, whether she finds out that he lives under a bridge later and decides to stay with him, that's one conversation to be had. But it doesn't negate the lie that reeled her in the first place. So that's the one
Okay,
thing. So,
I get that, and I did some research. I did some research because I don't do online dating. Actually, I
oh,
did
what am
do.
I
I
gonna
got
do?
permission, did the online dating. I did, but I did see something else, and they had this stat where online dating, you have pictures of women who they misrepresent their, this guy went on his 500 dates, and 25% of those, 25, 30% of those women, I don't remember the numbers, but anyway, it was a large number who misrepresented how old they really were, how much weight they really have, and all these other things. And they, filters and all this other stuff. I wish I had the numbers down. Next time I make sure I present it. So that's a lie. Not saying that, I'm not saying that men don't do that and men are completely honest. I'm not. But women understand the first catch is, hey, I have to look good because that's what's going to attract them.
Okay. A couple of things to that. One, going back to what you said about women being accountable in society, giving them a pass. I don't like when people say society because basically, when it talks about who's giving them a pass, it's men. It's kind of like when women are talking about, oh my goodness, Lizzo's being fat shamed and all of this and stuff. The people who are really fat shaming them are fat shaming are other women. I mean, guys are just pretty much letting her be. So men are the ones that should be holding women accountable. And if a woman is allowed to get away with something and a guy doesn't check her on it, and guys still are like, well, she fine, but I'll deal with it. That's on the guy. I mean, is that really a lie? Now, to your point about what you were saying about the article that you read, I found my personal
I
experience.
got it. I
Okay,
got it.
I
So
found from my.
first,
First of all,
okay, go ahead.
where's this article from?
It's on Facebook. I mean, not Facebook. It's right now. So
What's
I
right
have
now?
I have it on my YouTube right now.
See, this is the problem I have with you, and you'll disagree with me, obviously, is
Of
that
course.
you find things that like feed your narrative, and it's like the source of it, you have no idea who it is. It's just some random dude who said this,
No, because
and
actually,
so you believe
no,
it to be true.
I
Because
did the background on the guy. So
well,
no, it's not
well,
some random guy.
my experiences on that, on the one thing specifically about people lying about their age, I've never, and I've been doing this for a long time. I've never had a woman that lied about her age. One and two, I've had many women tell me that about talk to me about men who lied about their age because they said that women their age were old and tired, so that's why they lied about their age. Now,
But my
now,
thing is this: two things. First of all, you're being subjective, and the second of all is this, because it's always wrapped around your opinion and your friends' opinions, which of course, it is what it is. And second of all,
well,
I don't date men, so I don't care if they
well,
lie. I
I
just had to say
trust
that.
I trust my personal experiences more than I trust some random dude that I saw on YouTube.
But see, that's the thing about it. Remember, I'm married. I don't have any more personal experiences 30 that's not 30 years old. And that whole dating scene has changed.
Right,
So
right.
unless you go sit here and tell Ten Rock, yo, let Reggie go on a 6-month dating excursion so he can get some personal experience. This is the only thing I have to live vicariously. I
I
live
don't
vicariously to you,
I
or
don't think I'm going to do that. Matter of fact, I know I'm not going to do that because I do not want to deal with the response. Tamrock she wields a heavy hand. I think she might.
just say it.
So I'm not doing that.
Damn.
Um, so sorry about that. But yeah, I guess the whole thing is that you present it as though it is like it is like fact, and it's all subjective.
I
He's
mean,
talking,
everything is subjective.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
everything in life is subjective.
Now, now we
Mr.
can
Journalism.
well, yeah, we can dispute now the whole age thing. The one thing we can dispute, and I will agree with dude on, is the weight thing.
Now hold on. Let me say.
Um,
I got that. I have the numbers.
and
Uh,
here you go. Again, quoting them as though they're fact.
you quoting yours as their facts, so hell, I can
Dude, they
quote his.
happen to me.
I understand that,
It's
but we keep going. We keep going back to the thing. I don't have these facts, so unless I can get my facts, I have to stay on somebody else.
right,
So
but you're arguing
let
with
me let me
me.
can you go. Let me do the number. We're wasting time.
Give
We're
me,
wasting time.
give me this number that is based
Okay.
on nothing.
Out of 500 people this guy dated, 71% were heavier than their profiles showed. 66 looked older than their stated age, and 33 looked nothing like their profiles.
They looked older. What is that? What kind of study
They,
is that? They
they said
looked
they look
older
they
than
look
their
older than
age.
their stated age.
So that's not something that's a lie. If they looked older, I see. This is the thing, at least in my opinion. One of the many things is that
You don't have an opinion.
because when I see these things, these articles and stuff from these like women haters and stuff, and the same thing when I see from these man haters, they have an opinion, and then they look for facts to bolster their opinion. It's like if I am on a YouTube or if I'm reading an article, and it's about relationships, if they're only talking trash about one side, I can't mess with them because if you don't see the inequities in both sides, it's kind of like politics. Then I can't rock with you
See
because
it?
you anything that you present before me is going to be based on your own personal bias.
But see, I can say I said the same thing about you. We got off track. Anyway, go back to the whole liking thing.
Oh, the whole what's the whole like? Oh, no, no. Let me just say this though. Going back to that
Okay.
thing, he's
Yeah,
one
yeah,
hundred
yeah.
percent right about the weight thing. I didn't hear what you said about the weight, but I have been on way too many dates where that picture on that profile was like 5 years ago, and you think you still look like that. And the question is, see, I give people the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say that that woman who looks at herself every day still believes that she looks that way. Now, she could be lying and saying, I know I don't look like this, but hey, he'll see it when he gets there. I just kind of give women the benefit of the doubt. I
See,
just don't believe that that's a lie. I just think it's just delusional. But
well,
I
it's a lie. It may not be an intentional lie, but it's still a lie. If you're delusional, you're freaking lying to yourself. You don't want to
well,
see reality for what it is.
well,
You're lying.
if it's not conscious, if you like think that you look that way. Now, with that said, now now if you wearing that dress in that picture from 5 years ago and you know you can't fit in that dress still, then you might be able to look at it as a lie.
Just
But
say,
I just give them the benefit of the doubt.
again, like I
But
said, people and their narratives. People
okay,
always have their narratives.
well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Obviously, you feel like men and their dislike for women is valid. Do you feel like women and their dislike for men is valid?
No,
Despite the fact that we know for a fact you know people who've personally lied to women, Despite the fact that you don't know people personally who've beaten women, but you know, women who've been beaten. Well, you don't know. I don't know what you know, but you know that women have been beaten on. You know that women have been cheated on, and you admit that you know people that have lied to women, but they should still look past all of that and have this like for women that we shouldn't have for them. Basically, if you say that women lie and that's part of your reason for not liking them, why can't our lies be part of their reason for not liking us?
They can. I just don't think it's valid.
Right. That's my point, though. Why don't you think it's valid, though? A lie is a lie.
No, a lie isn't a lie. It's like a hurt is a hurt. Okay, a hurt's a hurt. So if I hit you in the foot with a rock, it's gonna hurt. If I sit there and I run over your foot with a tractor trailer, is that the same hurt?
No, it's different. But to me,
But a hurt's a hurt.
yeah, but also I don't believe that we have the right to judge somebody else's pain tolerance. So, and the women that I've dated, I don't remember the last time that I've dated a woman who didn't have a story about some dude or dudes that cheated on them.
And I
Some
have a
dude or
story.
dude.
And I have stories of men, including myself, of women who cheated.
Right. But you feel like your stories just give you justification to not like them, but you don't feel like their stories give them justification for not liking
No,
us.
well, for me personally, my thing is it's not that I'm broadly stroking my dislike for women because of past experiences. Uh Mine is really individual basis. That's why I say I'm indifferent. I
And that's
used
no, go ahead.
So it's like, I can meet a young lady today or tomorrow if I wasn't married, and I'd give her the benefit of the doubt. I'm not just gonna go in with a negative connotation. Oh, she's gonna lie to me and blah blah blah, because I don't know this chick. So we're gonna get to talk, we can get to know each other, blah blah blah. So I'm not bringing that old baggage in that all this. Well, I got cheated on 3 times, and she lied to me about the weed that she had. I don't give, well, you know, let's talk. So I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. That's where my indifference comes in.
See, I call a little bit of BS on that because um it's not we all bring our baggage, whether we acknowledge it, whether we suppress it or whatever it is. Women that I date, they're a little bit more outward with it than I am, or than I know some men to be, even though there are some bitter dudes out here.
Mm.
Um, yeah, they are like
Mm.
hoes too.
What
But
what what no, I wonder why they bitter.
well, and that's the whole thing. You wonder
like
why they're bitter. And it's like,
like Michael Jackson said, the kid isn't the kid isn't mine.
and it's kind of like what you said about things being different about you judging them individually. Um, that's kind of what the point I was trying to make in the beginning when we first started recording this time was that, yeah, people yeah, people like, people that they get to know, and they'll say have this ideal and this general thing about how you like somebody, is all this stuff. And yeah, you would hope that some, and to an extent, the women, they're judging somebody one to one, otherwise they wouldn't even be on the date. They're just bringing their baggage and expressing it. I just find it hard to believe that you're just like, okay, women do this, men do this, but women aren't justified in their feelings, but men are.
Yeah, because
Eh,
most of their feelings are based on anything that's tangible in front of them right there. That's my point. And I'm
well,
gonna stand on that. I'm standing on that sword.
see, and I think it's and I think it is more tangible. I think guys' reasons for disliking women is more abstract or intangible than women. Like I said.
We just don't like no, we don't like the way they think.
Yeah,
I
right.
don't see. I really don't think that. I don't. No, no. See, that's the thing. Going what 45 minutes into the conversation now. I think men do like women. We just don't like the way they think. I don't think women like us. Period. They just
I
have to. They just want to tolerate us
see.
because they need to. They need something from us. But I don't think they like us.
I disagree that men like women. I think if men liked women, I think we treat women better. And to say that men treat women well, I just don't know where you would get that from. And not to say that women are treating men well,
I'm about to say, what
because
sound like?
it goes both ways. But the difference between me and you is I acknowledge that it goes both ways. And
I'm not saying
guys,
no, no, no. I'm not saying
I
all men are no. I'm not saying all men are I'm not saying no men do it because there are men who mistreat women. I'm just saying the numbers are a lot higher than you want to give it credit to.
well, I guess what I'm pushing back, and we keep going back and forth on this for whatever reason, is that okay, regardless of what the numbers are, if even if it's 50-50, you're still saying that women aren't justified in disliking men, but men are justified in disliking women.
No, like I said, I clarified my point. I don't personally think that men don't like women. I don't. I think that men don't like the way they think,
I
and
I
I think that women generally do not like men. They don't like us.
Men would not treat women the way that they treat women if they like them. You don't, there is
I,
nothing that I possess, have in my life, in the world, that I would treat the way that men treat women in general if I
how do
like
men?
them.
How do you think that men treat women in general?
Well, um, when I look at, okay, it's a perfect example.
Hmm.
I have male friends. I have a lot of male friends, which I'm very thankful for. A lot of people don't have friends at this age, which is kind of shocking to me.
I know for
And
real.
it's funny, I have female friends, and we only have 3 minutes. Boy, this did go quick. Um, and I have female friends, and my female friends are always talking like, yo, can you introduce me to a good dude and all this stuff? And the reason that I don't necessarily is because when I talk to guys and we're just like shooting the shit or whatever, they spend so much time talking about and bragging about the different ways they shit on women. And it's like, I understand that you can say that's posturing, but again, if you like somebody, you don't do that. You don't talk about it and you don't do it. You do it because of a lack of respect that you have for them. Now, where the respect comes from is kind of like in the 90s when rappers used to say, well, I don't like bitches because, and I'm saying bitches because I'm quoting, I don't like bitches because bitches are act like groupies and all this stuff. So I treat them like hoes. Okay. Um, there's always a reason for the disrespect, but it's still disrespect. And so I don't think you treat a gender like that if you respect them. And if a woman's been treated that way, I don't blame them for not liking us. Now, chicken and egg, which came first?
But
I'm not
like
even
I
kidding.
said,
I don't,
yeah,
but
chicken and egg, buddy.
I don't care. I don't care who did what to whom first. I don't care about necessarily the severity of who did what to whom first. My whole thing is we don't like them, they don't like us. And I think it's fair that we don't like them and they don't like us. And now,
Then what the hell are we doing there?
well, we're talking about it. And well,
Well,
shoot.
besides, not us, not
Okay. I'm
us,
about to say, I
not
don't,
us.
I can't do anything because it's like one of those things. It's like y'all got all these people doing this and doing that, and then it's like, well, what are you doing? It's like, well, I ain't doing nothing but just talking about it. Yeah.
Well, they're actually doing something, but but no, we're talking about.
But to answer your question though, what are we doing then? Yeah, that's what I said. Why I said earlier, it's the sex is the only reason it just keeps us together. It's like that draw of sex, at least from a male perspective.
Yeah.
And it seems like women have convinced themselves that they need men, and need men to do stuff for them, even though some of them won't admit it. A lot of them will. So sex for us, needing men to do stuff or wanting
Well,
men to do stuff, and which is right, which is wrong. Yeah,
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 I agree with you on that.
yeah. Wow. And on that, you got anything else to say? We got a minute left. Well, we got like 30 seconds left.
Not really.
Yep. I hit record. You can hit my music. Thank you all for coming back. I am really interested in getting more feedback on this one. So yeah, yeah, this should be at least as interesting to me. Especially since most people won't admit it. But anyway, music playing. It's time for us to go. Datingwhileadulting.com. Thank you. Say bye, Reggie.
Bye, Reggie.